Also, by the way, with The Little Mermaid, can we also just mention that just from a scientific perspective, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have someone with darker skin who lives deep in the ocean. I mean, if anything, I mean, not only should the Little Mermaid be pale, she should actually be translucent. If you look at deep sea creatures, they're like translucent. They have no kind of pigmentation whatsoever. And they're just like these horrifying, they look like skeletons floating around in the ocean. That's what the Little Mermaid should look like. She should be totally pale and skeletal, where you can see her skull through her face. And that would actually be a version of Little Mermaid that I would watch.
I mean, that was one of the most disturbing descriptions of what Matt Walsh wants to see, right? Yes, so white, translucent. And this is what we're seeing from right-wingers today, okay? I mean, this is Republican masculinity 101. Have a emotional meltdown over the new live-action Little Mermaid movie, which features a Black girl as Little Mermaid. That's because that's what I think of when I think of masculinity, you know, the traditional male. I think about men crying over Little Mermaid being Black instead of translucent, so white that she's translucent, as Matt Walsh would like to see. Anyway, so this is an incredible story. As I mentioned, conservatives want to destroy the joy that girls who aren't white, by the way, Black girls, girls of color are feeling when they see, you know, main characters who aren't white, which is a little bit of a paradigm shift given what our movies and television have been like for so long. And I do want to just quickly show you this next video, because how could you not feel good watching these little girls see this movie and see themselves? See representation that makes them feel good. Let's watch.
I think she's round. Round area.
What?
She's black. Is there no actually black?
In this Little Mermaid, she will be. Okay. You excited?
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to see like my niece get excited like that for whatever reason, and it's like the best feeling ever. And people like Matt Walsh see it and they're like, but she's not translucent, can't have it, must melt down. Like, it's just, you guys, the reason why there's a so-called problem with masculinity in the country is because the men that you want, or the boys you want looking up to, are people like you. And I mean, it's endless bitch behavior, like endless. Like, no guy crying about the Little Mermaid exudes masculinity and strength. It's just not possible. You're muted, Cenk.
Yeah. Okay. So let's make some obvious points. It's a fictional character. Fictional characters can be any color, including, by the way, Santa Claus. The Easter Bunny isn't white. Well, it's an Easter Bunny. It lays chocolate eggs. And there are white bunnies. There are brown bunnies. I know you know. And by the way, there are white people. There are brown people. And so why aren't brown people allowed to be represented in movies? No! I want all the characters to be white. Why? What a weird sense of entitlement. She used to be white before. Was she? She was a mermaid. Right, how do we know what colors mermaids are when they don't exist? They are half human, half fish hybrids. None of it is real, okay? Should you complain about the fish part? Oh yeah, it's green, it shouldn't be green. Have you ever seen a green fish? Which then leads me to the next obvious point. Tell me you haven't never gone fishing without telling me you haven't gone fishing. All fish are white? Really? Is that true? Okay. Oh, but the deep fish. Really? Octopuses aren't white either. Like, no, the fish in the deep sea are not at all just white. What a weird thing to make up. Because they're desperate. Now, everything's gotta be white. We're losing power. We must have everything. I mean, they're complaining about elves being black. Why couldn't elves be black? How would you know about their fictional world? It's just so insane. Meanwhile, by the way, this is also important. Matt Walsh said in one part of that rant, I'm not against. It's just that they're saying that they have to have some roles, and white people aren't allowed to play some roles. Okay. Wait, first of all,
white people have been playing every role. White people have been playing every role since the beginning of television, since the beginning of movies. Like, there's just a tiny amount of content now that actually has a diverse cast, and they're losing their minds about it. Like, as if this is the top issue, okay? We have over 100,000 rail workers who have been working without a contract since 2019. They can't even get a single day off unpaid to deal with a medical emergency without getting reprimanded or potentially fired. But no, the big issue is Little Mermaid in the new live action movie is black. And it's a giant injustice. These people are so privileged, so incredibly like in a different world from the rest of us, that this is a real problem for them. This is the real problem. This is worth spending precious on-air real estate on. Like, this is the issue that matters. It is amazing.
So Walsh said that the film industry had it more balanced and right through the 1990s, but then it got bad. Now, why did he say the 1990s? Because until then, literally every single hero in the Disney series was white. Everyone. In the 90s is when they started with Mulan and some other people of color as heroes. And also through that, and past then too, Hollywood had a huge history, of course, of taking white actors and making them play people of color. John Wayne was Genghis Khan. I mean, Mickey Rourke played a very offensive Asian character. Tons of white people played Asian characters. Johnny Depp recently was Tonto. Angelina Jolie was Marianne Pearl, who's black. Joseph Fiennes played Michael Jackson. And of course, famously, Ben Kingsley played Mahatma Gandhi, right? So when all of that was happening, the Matt Walshes of the world thought, perfect. White people have all of the jobs, even the jobs that should logically go to people of color. No, erase them from history, take their jobs, make sure they don't get on air. Oh, now they got white people, they got black people playing black roles and Asians playing Asian roles. And now on top of that, they're taking some of our fictional characters from us. Besides which, scientifically, this doesn't make any sense, because at the bottom of the ocean, they would be better dressed. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be dressed at all in the bottom of the ocean. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Scientific conclusions about what would happen at the bottom of the ocean, you dumbass. It's scientifically in the North Pole.
Look, not everything is created for you. I know that's a difficult concept to grasp, but not everything on the planet is made especially for you and whatever desires or preferences you have, okay? That's what most normal people acknowledge, and they come across content and they decide. Everyone makes a decision for themselves. For me, not for me. For me, not for me. Marvel stuff, not for me. I'm not going to go on an endless rant, literally dedicate segments of this show on a regular basis, by the way, whining, bitching, and moaning about how there are Marvel movies in existence that specifically target certain people with certain preferences. Grow up. I would like to see Matt Walsh and all these other conservative men who are constantly crying about how there's a masculinity crisis in this country. I'd like to see them stop crying about cartoons, okay? Or, I don't know, cartoon candy like M&Ms not being slutty enough for them suddenly. Like, I'm done with it. Like, you guys are children. You guys do not exude masculinity or strength or courage. You guys come across as whiny little bitches. And that's what I really want to get through to them, right? I don't want to hear another word about the crisis of masculinity from another conservative guy when they're literally wasting all of their time crying about cartoons.
Yeah, that's another time you took the words right out of my mouth in this story. Matt Walsh is obviously a little bitch, right? And so he's like, oh, they took my Little Mermaid. She used to be so white. I loved it when she was white. What are you doing to Little Mermaid? What are you doing? He's like, no, Little Mermaid isn't white anymore. Yeah, all right, whatever, dude. Go get some emotional help and counseling and therapy and leave the rest of us alone. You're not entitled to every fictional character, you weirdo.